advisor and also the egg teacher at Loyal High School and Middle School. Today we're at the farm doing Food for America. The FFA puts on Food for America in lots of different areas. So most schools have a Food for America program, but how they're ran can be really different. We're lucky here in Loyal that we have a farm that usually hosts us, and so they ask all the people that they interact with, like the people who are going to deal with their manure, people who deal with their feed, and all the other things that go into producing our dairy products. And so they have all those speakers come, and then our fourth graders get to travel here and learn all about where their food comes from. And so in other schools, it could be a little bit different. It might be hosted at their school and they bring the speakers there. But we're lucky because we get a real hands-on experience.
Jason, I'm one of the dairy nutritionists here at the farm. This is Josh, one of the other dairy nutritionists, and Dale is one of the agronomists. So today we're going to talk about what a cow eats. But does anybody know what this thing is?
Vegetables.
Vegetables. Well, what is this whole thing though? It's a my plate, right? What does it represent? Well, food. We're supposed to eat or cows supposed to eat? Us. So today we're going to talk about the different types of ingredients and what makes our my plate. So what are some of our vegetables?
Cauliflower, potatoes.
All right.
Broccoli.
What are some of our grains?
Cereal. Bread.
Yup. Proteins. What do we got?
Meat.
Meat, right?
Yeah.
Some green beans, right? Peas. All right. Fish. What do we got for fruits? Apples, cranberries.
Strawberries.
Yup. And then last but not least, dairy. All right. So much like our diet is high in vegetables, a cow's diet is extremely high in vegetables. All right. So what is this vegetable? Hay, haylage, right? Another one is corn silage, right? Where we take that big tall plant, we cut it up in really small pieces, and we feed that as corn silage, all right? So that's the cow's biggest part of her diet. And if you look behind us, you got these cows eating back here. Even behind Dale, that's a high diet of forage in there that has a lot of vegetables. So in the cow world, we call vegetables forage. So the next biggest thing is our grains. So what is this? Okay, so this, if we fed this to a cow, she would not digest this or utilize this. So we have to process it, and when we process it, we grind it up really small and it looks like flour, right? Corn flour, okay? Or we can also do this process technique here that looks like something that comes from the breakfast table.
It looks like cereal.
Absolutely. So that would be what? Frosted Flakes, corn flakes, right? So this is called steam flake corn, all right? These are cow flakes. So we got to process it in order for her to get all the stuff, goodies out of it. What are some other grains we might feed a cow? Barley, oats, okay? Wheat, all right? Them are some of our other grains that we'd feed. But then after we're out of grains, we're then into what? Proteins. All right, so if anybody's ever helped mom or dad or grandma or grandpa in the kitchen make a cake, right? We pour that oil out of a container. What is that, vegetable oil? That's soybean oil, right? Okay, so this is a co-product, it's called, of soybean oil. All right, so this would be high protein soybean meal, okay? So this is part of the protein that we feed a cow every day. The next part of protein we feed a cow, a co-product, if you've ever used that yellow can of cooking spray, all right, called PAM, this is called canola. If you read the label on the backside of it, it'll say canola meal. So there's a lot of ingredients in food, from cow food to human food, that we can use both ways. This next product doesn't come from the food side of bioprocessing. This actually comes from fuel, okay? And if we've ever driven down Highway 29 with mom or dad, okay, there's those big silver tanks by Stanley, and they're making ethanol. So this is actually a byproduct. They take corn and grind it up and ferment it and take away the energy to actually drive cars, power cars. So if you ever heard the word ethanol, this would be the byproduct of ethanol. The next one is not a food byproduct. So I would never eat this, but a cow thinks it's very delicious. But I'm gonna let you guys feel this. How does it feel? Really soft? Kind of feels, you think it would feel like your socks? Sheets? T-shirts? What do you think? So this is a byproduct of the fiber industry that we can feed cows. Any guesses what this might be? It's not socks. What's the name of this? Okay, so cotton starts in a big old ball like this of fiber, and we harvest that, and we use that to make shirts and t-shirts, shorts and socks, and what's left is the protein and fiber that these cows like to eat behind us. So have we ever heard of the 3 R's of recycling? What are the 3 R's?
Reuse,
Yep.
recycle, and forget the last one.
reuse, recycle, and reduce. You know there's a U in there now? In agriculture, we've added a U. It's called upcycling. So we take a byproduct that would otherwise end up in the landfill, and we convert it into something that the cows can use. Okay, so this byproduct here, right now is black and dry, but in its normal state, it's red and liquid. So that's called blood meal. So this would be a product that gets upcycled, that we can't put in a landfill, but we can actually feed some of that back to cows.
These are powder.
Right. And this would be also a product called pork, meat, and bone, kind of very similar to those products. Okay? When we're talking about upcycling, what do I got in my hands here? Baby food. So a cow eats 2 fourth graders full of food every day. Okay? So she eats about 2 railroads full of food, about 150 pounds. Okay? So you want to open up 150 pounds worth of these? No? Okay? These are baby food, right? So a lot of the ingredients that go into here when they are making or processing them, they can't go into baby food yet, okay? Because it's not sanitary, it's not safe. But a lot of that ends up in agriculture or ends up in a cow's TMR in their belly, okay? The next thing we have is anybody in this group take a daily vitamin. All right? This is half of what a cow's vitamin is every day. Half. So what does milk have a lot of it in there? What's that C word? Calcium. You ever heard that? Potassium. Sodium. Okay. In order for that cow to get it in her body, we have to feed it to her. So this looks like a lot of those ingredients. There's salt in there. What looks like kitty litter, which is actually some calcium. Okay. That keeps her bones strong, so she can make sure that milk is high in calcium for us, so our bones can be strong. We got 2 fourth graders full of food, right? And it's gonna mix with a bathtub full of water, and it's gonna go up that mouth, right? This green arrow, it's gonna end up in her rumen, and it's gonna get digested. And then all of a sudden she's gonna lay down, and she's gonna burp it back up, and she's gonna chew on it again. Sounds pretty disgusting, right? Something a little brother would do. But actually this cow laying over here right now is laying there, it looks like she's chewing on bubble gum. That cow in there is chewing her tusk. So she's burping that food back up, chewing it again. It's so delicious, she's gonna chew it twice. Okay? But after it passes through that cow, it ends up in the gutter, right? Then what do we got? Poop and pee, all right? So then we shift gears a little bit. It's no longer the nutritionist problem that work with it. Then it goes to a guy by the name of Dale, and Dale starts working with it.
So what do you think we do with the byproduct that comes out of the back end of the cow? Put it on the fields. Why would we put it on the fields?
To help the plants grow?
That's right. To help the plants grow. It's all part of the whole cycle, right? Of reduce, reuse, recycle. So we put just the right amount of byproduct that comes out of the back of the cows onto the fields to make the crops that come back into the cows and feed them. Just like the right nutrition for the cows, we need just the right nutrition for the plants as well. To get the right amount of protein, fiber, digestibility, to get to those cows so they can produce the milk and the butter and the ice cream, cheese. So as far as not just feeding the cows, but also feeding the people is a good thing too. So like things like corn chips, Doritos, right? Everybody likes Doritos, certain flavors. Yeah. And that kind of stuff as well. It's not just about feeding the cows, but on this dairy it is.
See those little neck belts? Well, they're not necklaces. They're actually a transponder for the parlor, so the parlor knows which cow it is. So that way, if a cow is, they can tell how much milk that cow is giving, plus they can also tell the temperature of that cow that's giving them milk. That way they can tell if the cow is feeling a little sick or not. So when they find the cow after a computer printout from the parlor, the veterinarian will come in here, find that cow, and the cow's got a little number on him. That's for the humans to read so they get the right cow. Because that necklace, humans can't read the necklace, but they can read the number on their ears. Now, when they're cleaning these things out, the cows, they went off to the parlor to get milk. They'll start from that far wall back there, and they'll scrape all that manure that's in those alleys in the center area of the barn. The center area of the barn is a pit, and it collects all that manure. Now that pit is, up to the tip of here, 8 feet deep. So if I walked under there, I could hardly hit the top of that pit. And then from that post wide, and from that wall to that wall long. That'll hold about 5 to 7 days worth of manure from this barn. Now after this pit gets full, then they remove that cover there, drop a pump down into there, and hook a hose up to it. And on the side of the barn there, there's a pipe outside the barn that they hook the hose up to, goes to an underground line or pipe all the way to that pit where we were at. So that's a long ways of pumping, but it's the fastest way to get the manure out of the barn. So after the cows, they get milked 3 times a day, manure gets scraped down 3 times a day. This gets filled up, it goes into the pipe out there, and it comes out to the pit. Now, you guys know what a gallon jug is, how big a gallon jug is? Okay, these cows will produce 30 gallons of manure in a day. 1 cow, 30 gallons of manure. So if you figure that out, 100 cows in 1 year's time will make 1 million gallons. So we got 750 cows on this farm. So we'll have 7.5 million gallons of manure in a year's time. We collect it all. The reason we collect it is because we don't want to waste anything. We want to have the fertilizer value that's in it so it can grow more crops. A cow will make about 10 gallons of milk a day. So each one of the cows will make 10 gallons of milk. So if you think about it, 75% of what that cow makes is manure, 25% of what that cow has is milk. Pretty nice ratio. We're gonna go take a walk out to the manure storage. Then inside the barn, they will pump it underground through a pipe into this pit here. Now this pit here is concrete lined, and the reason behind that is because there's sand bedding used in this barn, and the sand will settle out. So what they'll do in the spring and the fall of the year is collect or take all the liquid out of this pit here, pump it out to the field, and then they'll go in with a spreader and a loader and load up the solid sand stuff and haul that out to the field separately because you can't pump that as well. This first pit is 2 million gallons. Second pit is 3 million gallons. But wait a minute, we got 7.5 million gallons. This is basically 9 months worth of storage. So all the while you guys are in school, we can be filling up pits. We used to pump the manure through, and this is just a little piece of a section of hose. This farm here has enough hose for about 4 miles of pumping. So that would be like pumping from this farm to the city of Loyal. That's quite a distance that they can pump. But they have to have that much hose because the land is on different farms and they got to go a long distance. They'll pump it through the hose, then it'll go to that tractor there, and on the back side is a thing to put it in the ground. Okay, so the hose connects up to that pipe down below there, and then they'll drag that hose through the field as they put the manure in the ground. The manure travels through that pipe, up to the thing there. That's what's called a flow meter, the silver thing. That'll tell you how many gallons per minute are coming into this bar here. So they can adjust the speed at which they travel to get the right amount of nutrients per acre of ground. Okay? Manure comes out through there, goes through that splitter box, and then it comes out through the hoses. These dig in the ground and make a groove in the ground. Manure drops in behind it, and then the ground closes up behind it, and then it doesn't smell. So it's really nice when they use these types of systems here because the neighbors don't have to smell the smell. And it's actually the best way to maintain and keep all your nutrients too because you're locking it into the soil. Now when the plant roots come down in to grow the plants, they got easy access to the nutrients, grow big, they chop the crop and put it into storage. Now they got feed to feed the cows again, and the cows can go and poop it out and Start the cycle all over again. So there's only two things that leave the farm. One of them is meat, the other one is milk. This is a dairy farm, so the main thing is going to be milk is going to be leaving the farm. The meat will be the old cows after they get too old to be milking or they don't milk enough anymore. Them are the only nutrients that have to be brought back into the farm again. And that's through some purchase fertilizers. Otherwise, the manure is the fertilizer for the bulk of everything the farm needs. So a farm is a complete ecosystem, as close to the closed off as you can possibly get. So farms are actually good.
You look up in here, there's a door right up under that opens up, and that feed comes rolling out. And then they use this conveyor chain, and that throws it out in front of the cattle, so they know, food's in front of them, so they can eat it. Pretty simple, but it does save a lot of time on the farm to feed the cattle and keep things moving. Another mixer up here. Same thing. Now you guys have been kind of all around the farm today, right? This is one of your last stops. So you kind of see a theme on what's going on here with what we're feeding, taking up the piles in the mixer, feeding the cows. After we feed the cows, we get a byproduct for the cows. Does anybody know what this does? Spreads manure, okay. So that'll spread the manure out on the field, on the dirt, so we can mix in the dirt later on. But back to the cycle on the farm, we're taking the crop, we're feeding the cows, we're taking the waste product from the cows, and we're putting it back into the soil. Putting it back in the soil to grow more crops for the cows to feed them again. Are you guys kind of seeing that as you go around the farm today? The different applications for that? Okay. How this works, guys, we spread the manure back on the fields. We run this over top of it. These blades will cut up the soil, kind of break it in smaller chunks. They come back with these shovels go underneath that soil and they roll it over and mix it up. They're mixing that manure into the soil a little bit better. It goes through 3 or 4 of those. Then you get to the vacuum machine. This is what they call the rolling basket. What this does is it rolls over the soil and breaks it up into bigger chunks or smaller chunks. And it kind of levels the field off so they can run the corn planter over it. So they got a nice even bed to lay the corn on.
Okay, this here is a double 10 herringbone parlor. Okay, this is where Albert Road is. We got about 600 cows we milk 3 times a day. We got 8 hours between milking. So every 8 hours these cows come into the parlor for a milk. So what happens is the gentleman's back there, you guys milking, he just loaded this side with cows. Okay, so you can see he's got that brush. Do you have one of those? Okay. So what they're doing is they're scrubbing the cow's teeth. Okay, getting them clean. And at the same time, he's pushing that little button. What that does is it puts a timer. Okay, so when that gives the cows about 90 seconds to come back and put the unit on the top. The gentleman on your right, he's going through and he's post-dipping the animals. Okay, with an like your mom uses, it's an iodine solution that you put on a cup. Same thing goes on the cow's teeth. Okay? That's it. That keeps them from getting an infection in the udder. Okay? So they're using one brush to clean them, and then an iodine solution to post it. And in a little bit, you'll see he'll exit this side. See how now we waited for the time run out on a unit? The unit will say actually right here. See the time count down? So when he gets down to that, that's where the reason why they do that is to give the cow enough time to relax so that her oxytocin relieves the milk in the udder. Okay? So now they come through and hit the button, turn the vacuum on to the off, turn the vacuum on to the liner, okay? And then the liner goes on the cow's teeth and that keeps flexing. Okay? So the liner's on the cow. Of course, we have one that she stepped on the unit, so they had to pull the unit apart. And then he gave her a shot of oxytocin. See how you put the unit on? the cow? What's happening is this liner is pulsating, right? Opening and closing. It opens, vacuum pulls the milk, closes, pushes the tissue back up into the udder. Okay? And that's how it does it. It does it 60 times a minute or more. This parlor was built back in 92. It's very old. Out, about 90 some degrees. Okay? Feels pretty warm, right? So that milk is coming into the milk house where it goes through a filter, right? Then from here it gets transferred to this big plate cooler where the milk gets cooled. Right? It's going from about 98 degrees down to 38 degrees as it goes through this like the refrigerator. Right? So then from there the milk gets pushed over and it comes up here. You guys want to remember how warm that pipe was? Feel this one. Feels good, don't it? That's the temperature differential that happens through that plate cooler. So from here, the milk now is at 36 to 38 degrees, and it gets pumped onto a tanker truck, which you've got to look at once you move here. So this is the back of the semi. Okay, this is where the milk gets put on and pumped onto the tanker. Okay, once you're done, the tanker gets capped. It's sent to the plant, and that's where it comes back in a bottle form for you guys.
What this is, guys?
Calf.
Calf. Do we know what a calf is? It's baby.
The baby cow.
Baby cow. That's right. That's right. You guys can see the baby cow, right? All right. Who knows what this is?
The bottle for a calf.
Bottle for a calf. What do we use it for?
To feed the milk.
Yeah. Feed them milk. You guys want to check that out? Let's take a look at it. Big, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a baby bottle, right? Except just a heck of a lot bigger.
Way bigger.
Just way bigger. Way bigger. Baby maybe eats a couple of ounces. I don't even know. That's a half gallon. So, yeah. That's pretty crazy. Who knows what this is? It's a milk thing. Yep, you're right. It's called a tuber, or as one of your classmates read, he read it right off the side, it's an oral calf feeder. Who knows what we use this for? Yeah, exactly. If they're really sick, if they're too sick to eat, because it's kind of like when you guys are sick, you don't really feel like eating that much. Calves have to eat because they're just babies. They have to keep eating to keep growing, otherwise they'll get even sicker. So we'll use this sometimes when they're sick. We'll put this down their mouth, we'll fill it full of milk, and then it'll go in their belly and keep them full. Another time that we'll use this, we've talked about colostrum before. A couple of the groups have asked. Does anybody know what colostrum is? No? Colostrum is the first milk that comes out of a mama when she's had a baby. And that milk has to go into that calf right away. It's really, really important because it's full of all kinds of immunities, other good stuff that'll really help that calf grow strong. So if the calf doesn't eat it right away, we'll use this to make sure that gets in that belly. So, yeah, one more thing here we use to take care of calves. Can anybody tell me what this? Blanket, coat, we call them calf jackets. Yep. So anybody know when we would use this? It's just like a jacket, just like when you guys wear a jacket in winter or in fall, right? Helps keep them warm. And I'll pass that around, look at it, you can feel the inside. Some of you guys probably got coats or pants, snow pants at home that kind of feel like that, right? In addition to feeding milk, you guys know what else will feed calves?
Corn.
Yep, you're looking right at it. Feed them water, we'll let them drink water. We don't feed them water, let them drink water. Then we'll feed them grain, or corn, or starter. It's got a couple of things in it. We would call this grain or starter. And it's got corn and it's got pellets in it.
Hi guys, welcome to Elizabeth Hill. Okay, so how many of you know what a veterinarian is?
Basically, a doctor that takes care of a doctor for animals.
Very good. And then what does a cow have to do every year in order to make milk?
Have a cow. Have a calf.
Have a calf. And you guys just saw the calf. So in order to make milk, she has to have a calf. And in order to have a calf every year, obviously we have to keep that animal very healthy. So when that calf is born, what do you think it weighs when it's born? And let's use nice, easy, round numbers because I'm going to give you a math problem, okay?
About 100.
100 pounds, okay. Now, how long does it take that baby calf to grow up and have a calf of her own and become a cow? 2 years. All right, so 2 years, she's gonna have a calf of her own. How much do you think she weighs then?
Easy math.
1,200, let's go 1,200, okay? So in 2 years, how much weight did that calf gain to become a cow? All right, so 1,100 pounds. Now in order to gain that much weight, obviously we have to keep her very healthy. What are some of the things we do to make sure animals stay healthy? What do we have to do? You go in and to keep you healthy, to keep you from getting diseases. Shots, vaccinations. So we do the same thing with calves and cows. We make sure that we vaccinate against all the diseases that are, prevalent in cattle. So in spite of all that, and in spite of feeding them all the best feed, every once in a while you get somebody that's sick. Now, when they do get sick, how can we tell that they're sick? Do they go, excuse me, Doc, I don't feel good? No, that'd be too easy. No, they don't do that. So how can we tell if they're sick? Yep. What else? What's the when you get sick and you just don't feel good, what are 2 things that you just don't want to do? You don't want to get out of, so you want to lay around a lot more. And what else? When your mom says, here, eat this, what do you feel like doing? Yeah, right? So they don't really eat well, they don't want to be active, and what else? How else can we tell that they're sick? Okay, and they also give less milk, right? Because they're not eating, so they don't give as much milk. All right, so now we're going to try to figure out what's wrong with that cow. So what are some of the tools that I have to try to diagnose what's wrong with the cow? This is my very, very favorite tool because this one tells me more than anything because my hands are good diagnosticians. They can tell what's going on inside of that cow pretty well. Okay, what else? What is this for? What do we do with this? We take her temperature. And what is this? A stethoscope. And what are the 3 things that we can really listen to with a stethoscope? Heart? Lungs? How many stomachs does a cow have?
4.
Does it have 4 stomachs?
How many stomachs does a cow have?
1.
And how many compartments does that stomach have? 4 compartments. Very good. And the biggest one of those is called?
Starts with an R.
A cow is a ruminant. So what is that big stomach called? I'm giving you the answer here. A rumen. So we can listen to her rumen. Now, so first, this is where you're going to listen to the heart and make sure that you can hear it, and then you know kind of where you want to be. And up here you can listen to the rumen, and you can actually, you can feel the rumen move, like right now.
Yeah.
That's when they can hear it. Okay? And it's going to sound like kind of a rolling sound. And then you push the milk out. Oh, now I know do it. Very good.
Hey everybody, I am here with Aaron Luchterhan from Elusive Hill Dairy, and we are here today for Food for America. And Aaron is a
5th generation dairy farmer.
Awesome. And my family has been coming here for 3 generations to serve their fuel needs. But Aaron, tell me about being a dairy farmer.
Well, it's not like it used to be where you get up and milk cows every day and tend to other things. Now it's a lot more rapid and specialized. Today you do a lot of computer work, checking, make sure that everything's running efficiently. Got employees to help out with needs and taking care of animals and whatnot.
So what is your role on the farm? Like, where do you spend most of your time?
My side of the farm, Luke does the cow side, and I do the crops and equipment. So my side is anything that comes behind the cow and goes in front of the cow. So.
Okay, and do you have a little side gig that you do?
Yeah, we also do some custom manure pumping and a little bit of chopping as well. So we do custom operating for other farms.
So what does the manure pumping mean?
Manure pumping means we take the waste product from each farm and pump it directly to the field and apply it as each field is required in the nutrient management plan.
Okay, and how many cows do you have here that are milking?
Milking cows 750.
And how about just head of cattle?
Head of cattle total with young stock is 1,500.
Wow, and employees roughly?
16.
16. Okay, so Aaron and I went to high school together. We graduated in 2004. We served as FFA officers, and we both are the babies of the class. We're the youngest two in our class. So thanks for joining in, and we'll see you guys later.